Wuthering Heights, it's got it all and it's on general release now, but puppy lovers beware. Now, if you've ever visited the Mona Lisa in Paris, you'll know the sorts of crowds that flock to even a single painting by Leonardo da Vinci. So just imagine the frenzied excitement when 9 of his major works are assembled in one place. Our panellists managed to cheat the crowds to get a sneak peek.
It's the ultimate blockbuster art show, with more than 60 works by the Italian Renaissance master, many on display in Britain for the first time. The curator aimed for a contrast to previous exhibitions, which have often focused on other parts of Leonardo's prodigious output as scientist, engineer and craftsman.
This exhibition is about Leonardo the Painter. We've had Leonardo the helicopter designer, Leonardo the anatomist, Leonardo the draftsman, but I think we've never had the opportunity to study his aims and ambitions, his extraordinarily huge ambitions for the art of painting before.
Perhaps those ambitions limited him. Only around 15 completed Leonardo paintings are known. So this exhibition is a rare chance to see so many in one place.
Leonardo was a great non-finisher, and we have to ask ourselves why. I think it's because he had such an extraordinary idea of what he wanted to achieve in his head that sometimes that was simply unobtainable.
The National Gallery has managed to secure loans from collections around the world, a task that required more than a little diplomacy.
People don't lend Leonardo's lightly. Some conversations were relatively straightforward, others were much more complicated and demanded intervention from Ed Vaizey, the arts minister, for example. But in the end, I think it's right that each of the decisions that various lending institutions made had to be considered over a period of months and years.
To secure those loans is undoubtedly a coup, but rather than merely assembling them, this show aims to illustrate a deeper thought.
What you're seeing best is the move from a painter who considered himself to be essentially the mirror of nature, to precisely observe what you could see around him, to somebody who thought that his own act of creation was somehow like that of God's. And so he's creating in a way that he could see as being sort of divine in an odd sort of way, and you can follow that journey in these 9 works. He thought of his own creative skills as being akin to those of God, and he saw his talent as being God-given, as almost miraculous, I think.
Already launched to critical acclaim and selling as fast as any show on record, the exhibition is an undoubted hit, but doesn't make the case for Leonardo's position at the very zenith of art history.
James, this is obviously a massive coup for Britain, and it is quite extraordinary to see all of these works assembled together for the first time, probably the last time. But do you think the show adds up to more than the sum of its parts?
Well, the parts are pretty amazing, and I mean, I just found myself in front of that picture we saw right at the start, the lady with the ermine, just kind of completely open-mouthed at the sheer beauty of it. And in a way, you don't even need to get into any of the explanation behind. There's fascinating things about how he's trying to understand God through nature, or then to overtake nature and to reach to God, his sort of inspiration, struggle between Aristotelian and Platonic forms of philosophy. But actually you just sit there for so many of the paintings just completely blown away, and to sort of have just that pure, absolutely kind of gut-wrenching feeling is something which is just incredibly exciting.
And these were the years that really made him Leonardo. When he turns up in Milan, he's not yet the Renaissance polymath that we think of today. And we're actually asked, as you heard, by the curator to leave our preconceptions about the other things that Leonardo does so brilliantly, whether it's helicopters or irrigation systems, at the door, and just think of him as a painter. Is it possible to do that?
Actually, it is. When you get in there, you don't want to think about anything else. It is so overwhelming. It is a lifetime treat. And this, I suppose I hadn't realised that I hadn't looked at the painting in detail till I got there and was confronted with it. And this is the amazingly rich tapestry that's laid out before us, because there are not many works, but they encompass such an amazing development. And also the entire social milieu of that time. It just sent me straight away to read up on these beautiful women. And what are the things that you realise, looking, of course, a lot of them were mistresses of his patron.
I love that. Curatorial drama as well, the way the wife is staring.
Yeah, well, we don't know if it's the wife, but we like to think think it's a wife, yeah.
It is by the time.
But I mean, then you see...
I just want to weigh one thing. One of those women is 16, and they have this amazing, this confidence and bearing. And it is also a painting about position and painting of power. I mean, everyone mentions beauty, proportion, and all the things he's famous for. But also their position is very precarious. Within 15 years, it's the next one. It's a different woman in 15 years on who is at the heart of all of these paintings.
The poise of Cecilia Gallerani, though.
So beautiful. And you think, well, you know, rough time for women, but to be in one of those, yeah, you know, fine.
And extraordinary, because as he works to create this ideal of beauty, at the same time, every one of those human beings is credible as a human being, I think, as a soul. And I think that's why we all find it so moving by the sound of things. Christina, the exhibition is incredibly skillfully curated, and it's very much about Leonardo the man, about the process behind him making these works. And I think it's very well guided. We get, immediately we walk into the exhibition, a sense from a very tiny drawing that you otherwise might walk past about the eye and how that creates creativity in the soul. And then very early on, this painting of a young musician that was a quiet revolution, because he, for the first time, turns the portrait around. How did you respond to that sense of the way that Leonardo's mind was actually working?
Well, I have to say, I mean, it's been so heavily hyped, this exhibition. It is quite hard for an exhibition like this to live up to the hype. But I found it really quite an overwhelming experience. And from the moment I went in and saw that first picture, it's called Ventricles or something. It's about the ventricles of the brain and perception. And I felt absolutely overwhelmed. And the way that you see these different sketches of things like of hands or drapery, or there was one of a child's torso which just makes you want to cry, actually, because you just want to pick up that child and cuddle it, and it's only a tiny segment of the torso. It's just, there is more humanity in that tiny segment of a torso than you would find in, you know, 1,000 other artists put together. And I think, I mean, for me, one of the many things that moved me about this was this sense of an endless quest for perfection. Although he was unbelievably lazy when it came to painting, he only painted, I think, completed 15 paintings when he was 67 when he died, and, you know, one deadline took him 25 years to meet, which I like.
We all relate to that. I love the line about how freelance life didn't suit him. I love
my
that.
kind of man. But,
And don't keep our columns just as long.
but you know, but you see the effort he put into what he did do, and then you see the paintings, and actually you just want to weep. And for me, it was the lady with the ermine, actually. That's the one that moved me more than all. That and weirdly the Burlington cartoon, more than the Madonnas and the Rocks, which are tremendous. But there is something, you look at those paintings and you see, you can really only call it the human soul, actually, a sort of a humanity and soul that I can't think of another artist who reaches. It is just astonishing. It's just
John,
astonishing.
lots of people are talking about this in rather religious terms.
Yeah, well, it is a sort of semi-religious experience. I'm not sure I'm quite the zealot that everybody else is. I mean, it is...
Why?
Well, because... because I'm not sure that I mean, I think it's a wonderful exhibition, but I'm not sure that I find all the paintings as immediately humanly understandable as everybody else seems to. Because to me, there's something strange as well as human about them. What's fantastic about the best ones, anyway, the lady with the ermine is extraordinary. And I was trying to work out what it was, and it's because what Christina was saying is true about it, but it's also this strange artifact of Renaissance perfection. I mean, he believes in perfection in a way we don't. So it's not like going to see an exhibition by a great artist from later centuries where you're always thinking this is a particular person. It is a person, but it's also strangely not her, I think. It's also an image conjured. I mean, we don't know what she looked like, but it's an image of sort of almost, yes, religious contemplation as well as a particular individual. And that's what's extraordinary about it, what makes it makes some of the artworks strange and distant as well as wonderful.
If you want to, sorry, we've got so much to say about Leonardo, and if you want to see perfection, or at least probably as close as we'll ever come to it, the exhibition is on at the National Gallery in London until February, and 500 tickets are held back every day to sell on the door. So please do set your alarm clocks early. It really is worth the wait.